The morning sun was just creeping over the rooftops of Willow Creek, Georgia, in August 2024, when I heard Ida's slow, deliberate jangling at my front door, like someone was auditioning keys for a locksmith convention. I peered through the blinds, and there she was, Evelyn Harper, hunched over my lock, muttering like the door had stolen her lunch money. Her confidence was unnerving, as if she belonged here and I was the intruder. "My name's Nathan Brooks, and let me tell you, this wasn't panacea, it was pure audacity." Evelyn, in her starched khaki blouse and hair scraped into a bun tight enough to double as a lie detector, looked like she'd been born to boss people around. If you've ever seen someone try to waltz into your home like they own it, you'll want to hear this. What would you do if someone tried to break in with a fistful of keys and a superiority complex? I'd lived in my cozy bungalow for 6 years, bought with the savings from my carpentry business after a shoulder injury forced me to retire early. I knew exactly who had keys to my playseam and my daughter, Lauren, a 28-year-old county deputy who was crashing with me while her condo got new floors. That jangle of keys in Evelyn's hand? Definitely not mine. I watched, half mesmerized, as she tested each one, cursing softly when they didn't work. The Georgia heat was already making her sweat, but she kept at it, glancing around like a bad spy in a cheap thriller. Lauren, munching toast in the kitchen, caught the noise and tilted her head, her cop instincts kicking in. I motioned her over, whispering, "You gotta see this." She peeked out, and her eyes narrowed as Evelyn fumbled with another key. "That's Evelyn Harper," Lauren said, her voice low. "Moved in last spring and acts like she's the mayor." Evelyn had been a nuisance since day one, strutting around Willow Creek like she owned every lawn. But this was next level. Lauren's face shifted from curious to all business. I'd seen enough. I strode to the door, flipped the deadbolt, and swung it open. "Looking for something?" I asked, as polite as I could muster. Evelyn froze, her hand mid-jiggle, and the look on her face shock, then embarrassment, then defiance was worth framing. "Mr. Brooks," she sputtered, stepping back like the door had zapped her. "I'm conducting HOA safety inspections. It's mandatory per the community bylaws." Her grip on that key ring was so tight her knuckles glowed white. "Mandatory, huh?" I said, leaning. "With keys that don't belong to me?" "I don't recall signing up for your HOA, Evelyn." Lauren stayed out of sight, but I heard her set her coffee down, ready to step in. Evelyn's eyes darted, but she rallied fast. "Every homeowner here provides keys for emergencies and compliance checks. As HOA president, I have the authority to ensure standards are met. Refuse, and you're facing legal action." Her voice was all bravado, but her shaking hands betrayed her. I remembered something unsettling 2 weeks back. I'd caught her poking around my shed, clipboard in hand, claiming she was checking for drainage issues. I thought it was just nosy neighbor stuff. Now, it felt like she'd been scoping my place. "Nice try," I said, "but unless you've got my signature on an HOA contract, you're trespassing." I shut the door, my heart racing. 2 hours later, Evelyn was back, marching up my porch like a general with a grudge. This time, she had a thick folder and a clipboard, her earlier nerves replaced by grim determination. Lauren and I watched through the screen as she pounded on the door. I opened it, and she launched in. "Mr. Brooks, I've documented 9 violations on your property," she said, thrusting papers at me. "Your porch light's too dim, your hedges are half an inch over regulation, and your mailbox isn't approved. Fix these in 24 hours, or you're looking at $3,000 in fines." The list was absurdly detailed: photos, measurements, even weather notes, like she was building a case for the Supreme Court. I scanned it, biting back a laugh. "Impressive work, Evelyn, but I never joined your HOA. You're on my property, making threats. That's harassment." Her face twitched, but she snapped. "Community standards apply to everyone. Property values are at stake." Then, she pulled out her phone and started snapping pictures of me in my doorway, muttering about documenting noncompliance. I handed her papers back and closed the door, my gut churning. I needed air, so I took a walk around Willow Creek. What I found made my blood boil. At the corner, old Mr. Clarence, 74 and widowed, was ripping out his rose garden, his late wife's pride and joy. "Evelyn said they're not on the approved plant list," he told me, his voice cracking. "Said I'd owe $600 if I didn't comply by tomorrow." Down the street, Jenny, a single mom and teacher, was wiring up security cameras she couldn't afford. Evelyn told me single parents have to install them for the HOA's safety patrols, or I'd face eviction, she said, near tears. Other neighbors had story-forced repaints, banned swing sets, and, worst of all, Evelyn collecting spare keys for emergencies. She targeted the vulnerable elders, newbies, parents building a web of control with fake rules and forged papers. Back home, I filled Lauren in. Her cop face was on full blast. Dad, this isn't just harassment. It's fraud, maybe worse. She's got keys to half the neighborhood. She started taking notes, her voice tight. People like her don't stop, they escalate. Then Clarence called, shaken. Evelyn had been by, asking about my schedule, if I lived alone. 2 more neighbors reported her spreading lies that I was unstable and a threat. Lauren's jaw clenched. She's building a story to justify something big, probably calling the cops to paint you as the bad guy. The next morning, around 10 a.m., Evelyn's sedan crawled down our street. She parked a few houses away, watching my place like a hawk. Lauren and I kept an eye on her from different windows. After 20 minutes, she got out, but instead of the front door, she slunk to the side of my house, testing windows with her key ring. She had a new propoplastic sleeved, official document, complete with a clip art logo that screamed homemade. Lauren zoomed in with her phone. That's a forged access form, she whispered. She's lost it. Evelyn tried every window, muttering, these should work. Everyone else complied. At one point, she knelt by a basement window, sniffed, and jotted on her clipboard, fertilizer odor possible code violation. It was creepy, like watching a stalker with a day planner. After 40 minutes of failed break-ins, Evelyn retreated to her car, visibly fuming. She pulled out her phone, and her voice carried angry, urgent. She's calling 911, Lauren said, slipping into a crisp button-down. Let me handle this, Dad. 8 minutes later, sirens wailed. 2 patrol cars rolled up, and Evelyn leaped out, pointing at my house like it was a crime scene. 4 officers stepped out, one a buddy of Lauren's from a precinct cookout. Evelyn launched into a tirade, waving her fake document, claiming I'd threatened her and violated HOA rules. Lauren opened the door before they could knock. Morning, officers, she said, calm as ice. I'm Deputy Lauren Brooks, badge 5823. This is my dad's house. I believe you're here about a complaint. Evelyn's jaw dropped, her narrative crumbling. This is outrageous, she shrieked. He's dangerous. He threatened me. Lauren didn't blink. Can you specify the threats, ma'am? And explain why you've got keys to multiple homes, including attempts to enter this one. She showed the officers her footage, Evelyn trying locks, sniffing windows, clutching her forged form. The lead officer's face hardened. Ma'am, this looks like attempted burglary. Where'd you get these keys? Evelyn stammered. They're for emergencies. Neighbors gave them to me. But when asked for proof of consent, she floundered, waving her clipboard like it was a shield. The officers examined her key ring, 25 keys, none with clear ownership. Lauren mentioned neighbors' complaints, and another officer called them. Clarence confirmed giving a key during a hospital stay, thinking it was for a safety program. Jenny thought her key was for insurance. The lead officer ran Evelyn's name. Ma'am, you've got a restraining order from Fulton County for HOA-related harassment and fraud. Evelyn's face went ashen. That was a misunderstanding, she cried, pointing at me. He's the problem. But her homemade paper violation lists, fake forms fell apart under scrutiny. She admitted designing the authorization form, proud of her professional formatting. The officers weren't impressed. You're under arrest for trespassing, attempted burglary, fraud, and false reporting, the lead officer said, cuffing her. Evelyn wailed about property values as they led her to the patrol car, still insisting she was saving Willow Creek. Lauren handed over her recordings, earning a nod from her colleague. Solid work, Brooks. This could have gotten ugly without your evidence. By noon, neighbors gathered on my lawn, not angry but relieved, like they'd woken from a bad dream. Clarence wept, telling how Evelyn threatened to bulldoze his roses. Jenny admitted skipping meals to afford those cameras. A young dad said Evelyn banned his kids' chalk drawings, calling them vandalism. The stories piled up Evelyn sneaking into homes, moving furniture, enforcing rules that didn't exist. She'd preyed on fears, exploiting trust with her fake authority. Police later found files at her house, photos, schedules, violation logs like a stalker's scrapbook. Some neighbors found items misplaced from her inspections. It was a violation that cut deep. Evelyn was convicted on multiple counts, sentenced to 20 months, ordered to pay restitution, and barred from any HOA roles. Willow Creek exhaled. Clarence replanted his roses, neighbors helping with bulbs from old photos. Jenny returned her cameras, buying her kids new backpacks. Kids drew hopscotch grids again, their laughter echoing. Lauren got a sheriff's commendation, and our bond grew tighter. "You didn't just save my house," I told her one evening on the porch. "You gave these folks their homes back." She grinned. "Dad, you stood up first." That's what lit the fire. This wasn't just about Evelyn. Years ago, an HOA in Alabama drove my late wife to a breakdown with endless fines and threats. We moved, but the stress lingered, shadowing her final years. Willow Creek was my sanctuary, and Evelyn nearly stole it. Now, I hear she's appealing, claiming she was protecting standards. Good luck with that. My bungalow's locks are mine, and I'm sleeping easier, knowing justice can still show up when you need it. So what's your take? Was Evelyn a misguided control freak or a calculated con artist? Should I have confronted her sooner or let Lauren handle it from the start? Have you faced a neighborhood tyrant who thought they owned your life? Share your stories, hit like if you rooted for us, and subscribe for more tales of standing up to bullies. And one last spark, if you caught someone with keys to your home, would you call the cops or handle it yourself? Let's get this conversation blazing. Word count, 1,800 words, 6,400 characters.